Oh my gosh, and I'm live. Hello there. Once again, this is yours truly, Clarice, and thank God it's Friday. It's September 23rd. Wait, let me check. And I'm right. It's September 23rd, 2022. And so, as you can see, I am very much part of the community where I am at. So I will not be speaking from from a deep what deeply entrenched cave. And so the topics that I want to discuss today is, of course, very much a mainstream concern, especially in the industry where I am a part of. You know what? Coming from the industry of fiction writing, of um, coming up with something out of nothing. Yeah, reminds me of that song, Making Love Out of Nothing. So romance novels in Tagalog would mean that, from a very, very innocent plot, probably a very, very simple plot, I could weave an interesting and colorful tale that will entertain my readers. And for the most part, my intended readers were Filipino, Tagalog speaking Filipinos, because that was the circulation of Precious Publishing Company. And so the works that I was doing back then, being naughty about some plots that I could weave into my craft and then get paid. So the work that I did would entail fiction writing and embellishment of plots, exaggeration, diba? Making love out of nothing. And that got me in some hot water later on when I've stopped writing. But the figments of imagination, it's like cutting from a fabric in order to produce a dress that can be worn. And so madaming retaso, we call that in Tagalog retaso. Those should be discarded as pieces of the garment that I no longer need, but they were attached to me. They were labeled to me as a suspected inspiration of the plots that I had used in my novels. What helped me transcend that notoriety, that psychological condition labeling, is that I also am the person behind Talaga Information and Business Consultancy. And with the advent of globalization of IPs, so that there will not be chaotic system whereby, because of the intangible quality of our work and that commonality between human beings, we all feel, and somehow through interpretation and translation, amor in Spanish, which is love, which is pag-ibig here in the Philippines, it can be subject to claims and counterclaims depending on its usage, diba? Depending on where that so common term can be found as attached to a name. And thereby, the system has produced a way to identify the work of one artist from the Philippines versus a work of another artist in another part of the globe. And with that, I want to introduce the ISRC, the International Standard Recording Code. It's globally recognized standard numbering systems for audio and music and video recordings, and it functions as a universal identifier number for each sound recording, and it's for embedding, so it has its practical use. It's not just a form of it's not just a bragging right. Oh, I did that, and I composed that. It has a value, and yun nga, it's a code. It has a commercial value. It functions as identifier of the rightful person who should be recognized and established. So with that, some of the labels that had been attached to yours truly, your a romance novelist, had been shed off. So it was really a work in progress, and it was somehow it gave sometimes wonderful anecdotes and narrative, but sometimes it what it had posted problems financially because of the confusion that had been made. So with this, I want to share, before my time runs out, I want to be sharing some details that are already of proprietarial nature, meaning it has the legal aspect. Is Clarissa talaga by this time a client of, diba? Can I speak of being a client? Can I speak of being represented in one contract or one MOA, Memorandum of Agreement or Understanding? So these are the things that I had been so preoccupied with, that had taken time to establish, because it's a due process. Things don't happen on my say so. Things don't come to be because I said so, and vice versa. For whoever will come up with an anecdote mentioning names, there are due processes involved, so that it will go with the system. So the billing statements that I have been receiving has corresponding reference numbers and system generation, which is not around in times past, which also means that the crowd or peer funding was not available, was not a viable source of funds in previous times, and it will not be feasible or viable for me to even mention the name of Jeff Rolka, who is a lyricist, a musician, and a voice coach. But if my ISRC will be, if there will be a piece of communication or a business transaction wherein my ISRC will be printed along with his international standard music number, or ISMN, and it will be under the ISO 10957 system, then whatever I may say about it will be part of that system, so that the he said, she said conflicts, those kind of situation will not be present at this time. And with the process of legitimacy, more or less the predictability of entering into a contract, into a viable understanding, like a booking, like a presence, a guesting, it is at this time very feasible and very viable, thank God. And so the songwriters for that I will mention, whereby my ISRC will be having a consummated transaction with their ISMN. These things will eliminate the confusion that had haunted the attempts in the past. So the songwriters Andreas Jonas, Sammy Romdane, Savan Koteka, I hope I'm not getting into trouble by the mispronunciation, Savan Koteka, And also the songwriters of Snow on the Sahara, Nicky Matheson, and its French origin, Eric Benzi. Yeah, because they are French, I think French people, nationalists, who also did business in Indonesia, or very much part of the Indonesian music scene through Anggun. Yeah. This is the concern that I have brought up locally, because very feasible and tangible is this legal document, the deeds of assignment. The assignee and the assignor should be filled in the blank with real name and real identification, and before the legitimacy or before the legalization of these deed of assignments, and the aftermath, diba? The assigning of the various names according to the functions in these contracts or transactions. That's why before I even ventured into producing music again, I had been so busy with compliance and with the clearances to be able to be someone's client, to be able to share on air the public documents that will not mention names because they are not supposed to be mentioned, or will mention names because it is according to their knowledge and it has been put into effect through signatures, thereby eliminating the possibility of doing so or harming someone who is unprepared to be mentioned along the lines of bringing into public patronage the work or collaboration that had conformed to the system locally and universally. So I hope I'm making sense. But if not, I hope to make more sense in the coming podcasts with the details where I'm not just explaining the system or how it works, but would actually mention the websites and the numbers and the details if one is an interested party. So till here, and I want to say thank you so much for sticking by, for standing by, and while on a roll, I should quit. Bye. See you next time. Bye.